Hi everyone, my name is Chris and today I am here to help you prepare for your TOEIC exam. It is of course a multiple choice question exam with 200 questions split into two different sections. We have the listening section and the reading section. We're going to talk about the listening section first. Okay, so the listening part of the TOEIC exam. Many of you are maybe a little bit nervous about this, or perhaps a lot nervous about this part of the exam, but with the correct preparation and a little bit of practice, it's possible for anybody to get a decent score in this section. Firstly, we just have to remember that it's 100 questions and we only hear the listening statements or conversations one time. So you really have to concentrate and listen attentively for every statement that they say. When I've been the examiner in these TOEIC exams, I often see the faces, well, I purposely watch the faces of the people doing the exam and they go, ah! When they hear the very first thing, they go, oh no, it's so fast, I don't understand. And that was just the instructions that the man was giving you for how to answer the exam. So we're going to listen now to what the man says before you actually hear the part of the test, okay? So these are just the instructions. Listen to these.
Listening. Part 1, Question 1. For each question in this part, you will hear 4 statements about a picture in your test book. When you hear the statements, you must select the one statement that best describes what you see in the picture. Then find the number of the question on your answer sheet and mark your answer. The statements will not be printed in your test book and will be spoken only one time.
Okay, so the listening section has 4 different parts, and part number 1 starts with a photo. They will give you an image in your workbook, something like this, and then they will give you 4 statements about that photo, and you have to choose the best statement that fits that particular photo. And that's an important word, the best statement that fits that photo. Often in part number 1, there are maybe 2 answers which are pretty good for the photo, but there's only one that's 100% correct. Okay, so let's look at this photo here, and I will give you 4 answers on your screen, and you try and get the best statement for that particular photo.
A. They're sitting at their desks.
B. They're in a meeting. C. They're entering a meeting. D. They're working.
Okay, so the photo was of 2 women working. Which one did you choose? A, B, C, or D? Well, the correct answer is actually D. D. A was quite good, but D was a better answer. And as I said before, this is something that happens a lot with the TOEIC. You have to find the best answer. Okay, so now we're on to section 2, questions and statements. You will hear either a question or a statement from a single speaker, and you will only hear it one time, and you have to choose the correct answer to that question or statement. Now, normally it's 3 possibilities. You have A, B, or C. Okay. Again, the man is going to explain what you have to do. Don't stress for that part. And then listen very, very carefully to the question or the statement. I'm going to give you an example now. You'll listen one time and then choose A, B, or C. Let's go.
Part 2. You will hear a question or statement and 3 responses spoken in English. They will not be printed in your test book and will be spoken only one time. Select the best response to the question or statement and mark the letter A, B, or C on your answer sheet. Question 7.
Now, I really need somebody to step up and help us out with this project for Monday.
A.
I'm riding my bicycle on Friday.
B.
I'll do it, I guess, but I don't really want to.
C.
I need to go to the doctor's tomorrow.
Okay, so the correct answer there was B. I'll do it, but I don't really want to. Maybe that's your case with the TOEIC. I'll do it, but I don't really want to. I don't know. Why are you doing the TOEIC? Perhaps it's for your work. Perhaps it's to get into a school, all these sort of things. Perhaps it's just a personal thing, personally motivated to do it. I know many of my students in the past had a base. They needed 750 out of 999 to get into their school or to get the job that they were going for. That's a common goal, 750. Some companies ask for 785 for their management team. They need 785 out of 990. These are all possible scores, definitely. But we have to listen very, very carefully in the listening section. And of course, make sure you answer every question. It's amazing, but unfortunately, I've seen it so many times. People don't answer every question. It's a multiple choice test. Even if you're not sure, mark a response. You might get it right. You're a chance. Okay, now let's go and talk about section 3. Okay, section 3 is a super important part of the listening test. It's worth a lot of marks. And this time, you actually have the responses written in your workbook, which is great. It can really help a lot of people. This time, it's all about conversations. You will hear a conversation between 2, sometimes 3 people, and you have to answer 3 questions about this conversation. Now, there is a little bit of time to read the answers before you listen. Very, very important. Read through the answers. Start thinking already, what could it be about? What could this conversation be about? Maybe look at some of the vocabulary in the answers that are in your book, and you might start to think, okay, I think this conversation is going to be in an office. I think this conversation is going to be at a football match. Things like this, okay? It's really important to read through those answers before you listen. Because yes, you have the answers in front of you, but unfortunately, you will only get to listen to the conversation one time. And it does go very fast indeed. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here now. I'm going to put the answers up on the screen for you first. There are 3 questions, and then I will play the conversation for you. Good luck.
You will hear some conversations between 2 or more people. You will be asked to answer 3 questions about what the speakers say in each conversation. Select the best response to each question and mark the letter A, B, C or D on your answer sheet. The conversations will not be printed in your test book and will be spoken only one time. Question 51.
I can't believe it. This always happens when I shop here.
What is it?
Look at the cart.
Oh, it won't move at all?
No, the wheel's broken, I think. Maybe I could fix it if I had some tools.
Don't worry about that. I'm only doing a small shop. You could just use mine with me if you want.
Thanks, I will. I have to be quick so I can go home and do some chores.
Okay, how did you go? Did you get 3 out of 3? Or maybe not? I know TOEIC is not easy, but the more that you practice, the better you will become. I definitely recommend listening to native English speakers like me talk about anything on YouTube, okay? If you can, I'd recommend looking at business and human resource YouTube channels. I'm going to put some few ideas down in the commentary section. These channels have nothing to do with me, but they might be a nice idea for you to just go and watch a few videos and listen to some different accents. The more exposure that you have to different accents and business vocabulary, the better you will be in the TOEIC listening section. Because the TOEIC is based on business. There are a lot more business questions than there are daily activity questions. Okay? Now that I've said that, maybe go and have a look at those channels after we finish this video, of course, because we've still got a lot to do in the TOEIC. It is a long exam, 2 hours long, and with explanations, you're normally in the exam room for about 2.5 hours. Okay, let's go and talk about section 4. Okay, section 4, it's just one person speaking this time. Some people might say, oh, that's easy, it's just one person speaking. But I actually find this section is often the most difficult. The speeches could be about anything at all. And if you're uncomfortable with this person's accent, well, you only have to listen to them. So you don't have a choice, you have to try. Again, always mark a response, A, B, C, or D. Choose something, even if you don't understand everything. I'm going to give you a very good example here from a TOEIC exam. I'll give you the answers first, and then I will give you the speech. So please have a good listen, have a think, and then try your best at these next questions.
Part 4. You will hear some talks given by a single speaker. You will be asked to answer 2 or 3 questions about what the speaker says in each talk. Select the best response to each question and mark the letter A, B, C, or D on your answer sheet. The talks will not be printed in your answer sheet and will be spoken only one time. Questions 81 to 83 refer to the following talk.
Okay, listen up everybody. Today is the big day that we've all been waiting for, and for me personally it's a day I've been waiting for most of my life. Today we're going to start the restoration of this amazing building that I first laid eyes on back in school when I didn't know anything about design or buildings. Today though we will start our important work, and it is essential that we preserve the spirit of this old place whilst implementing my new designs. It's very important that we conserve the beautiful wooden doors on the 3rd and top floor, but the doors from the other floors will be thrown away. After we finish the inside, we'll be handing over to Bob and his team to complete the outdoor pool. Okay, if there are no questions, then let's get to work.
Yes, we have finished the listening section. Now it's time to move on to the reading section. I personally find the listening section more difficult, but often with the marks of my students, they do worse in the reading section. It's in the second half of the exam, they lose concentration, and the worst thing of all is they get stuck on one question. Just like in the listening section, often you may have two answers which are really pretty good, they're really close. You're not sure, is it that one? Is it that one? And they think about it for 10 minutes. They waste all their time on one question and they run out of time at the end of the test. So many times I have seen this as an examiner of TOEIC. I've seen people run out of time. Time management is the key to the reading section. Truly, you should never spend more than 3 or 4 minutes on one question, ever. Move on, move on, move on. If you find yourself getting stuck on one particular question, choose an answer, write down that number on a scrap piece of paper, number 68 or something, and if you finish the test, then come back to number 68 and have another go at it. But make sure you have written an answer, you've chosen an answer, A, B, C or D, before you move on. Because if you do run out of time, at least you have a chance to get it correct. Okay? If you just leave it blank and say, oh, I'll come back to that after, and you run out of time, you may have a number of blank answers in your test, and unfortunately, you will not get a good score. So that's my number one tip for the reading section, time management. Take a blank piece of paper, write down the numbers of questions that you're not 100% sure of, but that you have answered, okay? You can always come back and change your answer later if you have time. Okay, so the first part of the reading section is section number 5, and it's incomplete sentences. They will give you a sentence and then there'll be a blank, and you have to choose what is the correct word or words that go in that blank to complete the sentence. There is always a question with a comparative or superlative. Always at least one. So you should know your comparatives and superlatives perfectly. I've done a video on comparatives and superlatives. If you don't know your comparatives and superlatives, look at that video and learn it. I cannot stress that enough. Easy marks for you. If you know your comparatives and superlatives, you just go boom, boom, boom. Wow. You've got 1, 2, sometimes even 3 questions, comparative superlatives. Okay, the next thing that you should study, prepositions. Prepositions, your ats, ons, ins, your connecting words, your froms, because, but, all these sort of things. Very important, okay? I'm going to give you just a couple of examples now from Practice TOEIC Exam 4 incomplete sentences. Try your best at these ones. Okay, we're moving on to part number 6 now, the second part of the reading section of the TOEIC, and it is error recognition. They will give you some statements, some sentences with errors in them. You have to find where the error is. Again, it's going to be a lot of grammar-based things. So there will be things about comparatives and superlatives, perhaps. There'll definitely be something about some prepositions. And sometimes we could get differences between simple past, present perfect, past perfect, things like this. Okay, not easy. Again, I have a video up here, present perfect. If you're not sure about that, that's a common problem for my French speaking students. I'll give you a few examples on the screen again for this section and see how you go. Okay, our last section of the reading part of the exam, and it's my favourite section, is the reading comprehension. They will have an email, they will have a stock report, they will have a newspaper article, things like this, and you have to read this short article or email or report and answer 3 questions about this report. The great thing about this section is the answers are there in front of you. You just need to know how to interpret them in the text. Practice for this one, I would recommend reading English-speaking newspapers. There are many online that you can choose from. I'll put some in the description below too for you, some links. I'd also recommend reading some business magazines. There is always a question about shares, stocks, these sort of things. If you do not know your business vocabulary, you might have trouble with this section. There's always something about stocks. Okay, stocks, shares, profit margins, these sort of things. Companies, CEOs. Okay, if you don't know what this is, go and do some research on business vocabulary. Again, I have a little video here, business vocabulary. Go and have a look at it. It only takes a couple of minutes. And learn that vocabulary, okay? Important. I'm going to give you an example here now from the reading comprehension section. See how you go with this one. Okay, so we've looked at the listening section, we've looked at the reading section. That is, of course, now the end of the TOEIC exam. Not for you, though. You haven't actually done it yet. So, practice, practice, practice. Remember what I talked about. Time management, really important. Go and read as much as you can business articles, newspaper articles, things like that. Listen to English speakers like me on YouTube talking about anything. Not just my English lessons. They can help, of course, a lot, but go and listen to some business topics. Unfortunately, if you are not business-minded, you should be for the TOEIC exam, okay? So maybe go and listen to some podcasts. They're great practice too. Even if you think they're a bit boring, go and do it. It will be really good practice for you. Try and listen to a variety of accents too, okay? American, British, Canadian, a little bit of everything. Because in the TOEIC exam, they do give you a little bit of everything. More American than other countries, I find, normally. But it's good to hear all sorts of different accents. So I'm going to leave you now with my best pieces of advice up on the screen. Good luck for your TOEIC exam. I sincerely hope that I have helped you out just a little bit with your preparation. If you like this video, please press the like button. And of course, if you want some more English lessons, press the subscribe button too. I would love to have you as part of the Anglais, Avec and Anglophone community. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Bye-bye.